Hello everyone, Giltar here with part 1 of my review of the DMK-02 model kit of the Transformers Bumblebee character from the live action movies directed by Michael Bay. Now, this is basically the inner frame structure or body of the model kit. As you may have seen in either photos of the product or my unboxing video of this product, that the inner frame structure that comes pre-built with the kit doesn't have a head, hands, or feet. Basically, it was a torso, upper arms, and upper legs, all pre-built for you. So the model kit so far right now has a bunch of different parts added to it to basically get it to the point where it is a fully fledged humanoid form with feet and hands. Now in this case, it is showing that it does have a weapon accessory and arm cannon. However, as you can see here, it also has a normal arm, and this is the other arm that you can basically attach. All you have to do is unpeg the cannon, which has a peg on the end. It goes into a slot or a peg hole there, and you basically attach the same sort of peg on the lower forearm into that, and then you have two complete arms. Now in this case, you can see that it has a fixed pose open hand, and then a fixed posed clenched fist. It has a pair of each. You have a pair of open hands, a pair of clenched fists. You have one cannon arm. And that's pretty much it for sort of the options for its hands. Now, what I want to say right away about the model kit so far is that it was, I would say, equal parts enjoyment and frustration in building the kit so far. One of the really neat things about the model kit is that, just like you would see in Gundam model kits, is that the inner frame structure has a lot of detail, and you build a lot of that up, which is very nice to see. Unfortunately, the parts are very small, and just with how the design of the I guess body of Bumblebee here, it's quite intricate, and there are a lot of little pieces that need to go into sort of very restrictive areas where your hands really aren't meant to go in, and that makes it tough to put some of the parts together. Another point of frustration so far is just the fact that I don't know if this is just my particular model or if other people have come across this with their Bumblebee kits, but I find a lot of the tabs are they're not molded well. And by that, I mean they're a little too large for the slots or peg holes that they're supposed to be inserted into. And the first couple of times I've discovered this, I didn't know right away. I basically inserted the part. I felt some resistance there, so I just pushed the peg or tab a little more firm to put it into the peg hole or the slot. And unfortunately, some of the plastic has already stressed from simply putting one part into another. And so what I'm basically learning so far is that I would say 90% of the pegs or tabs of the model kit parts that I've assembled so far required sanding. Basically, I had to sand the tabs or pegs down to try to avoid stressing parts, which is unfortunate because this is not a really big model kit. A lot of the parts are very small and delicate. They're fragile just simply from being plastic model kit parts, and you really don't want to stress parts unnecessarily. And so I'm sort of expecting at some point down the road that I might come across some parts breaking on me just through normal manipulation when I'm posing the model kit, because if they're already stressed now, I don't know how long they'll last. Another issue with the model kit so far is that with the pre-built frame body, a lot of the joints are actually really loose. Like the knee joints are loose, the elbow joints are loose, the waist and abdomen joints are loose. Basically every joint that's pre-assembled for you is loose. Now, once you assemble the ankle parts, fortunately they're actually quite sort of secure and strong. They use a part just came off, and that's one example of just like really small parts. And you gotta be really careful when you're assembling the kit, because if you don't sort of carefully assemble the parts and something falls off, like something this small can easily get lost if you're building your model kit in a place, like in a room, for example, where you have a carpeted floor. I can easily see this getting lost in the carpet, so you gotta be really careful when you're assembling the kit. But yeah, the joints are quite loose. Unfortunately, the joints are either, I believe, plastic on plastic, which is usually not a good thing. It doesn't really provide a secure connection where there's a good amount of tightness for the joint. Or there's already a polycap sort of component, I think, already installed in the joint, but the way that the polycaps for this model kit are manufactured or designed, basically, they seem a little smoother, very similar to how Kotobukiya designs their polycap parts, which I might have spoken of before in previous reviews, but Bandai really has, I think, gotten down their formula for how they make their polycap so that it provides a good amount of friction between the polycap part and like a plastic joint. Unfortunately, and I mentioned this in the unboxing video of the Bumblebee model kit here, is that the pre-built inner frame basically reminds me of the pre-built frames or bodies for the frame arms model kits, which are made by Kotobukiya, and both those and this model kit experience the same problem with those loose joints. Now, one good thing about the model kit design so far is that this torso here, the sort of chest plate or breast plate, is not assembled. You basically have to slap two large pieces onto the torso here to create this chest structure. Now, the good thing about that is that it actually secures the shoulder joint here, which kind of looks like a ball joint. I don't know if you can make that out. And previous to assembling the chest here, the exposed shoulder joint was very, not loose, it was actually tight and secure, but it was prone to separating. But now with the chest piece here assembled and built onto it, it actually encloses part of the shoulder joint and actually makes it secure so that there really is no chance of separation. And it's very nice in terms of the tightness of the joint. Now, in terms of articulation, as you can see, it actually has a great degree of posability. For the most part, the legs are very nice for articulation. There's a swivel joint in the waist. I don't know if I can show it off here. And there's like an abdominal, an ab crunch type of hinge joint. Shoulder joint here is hinged. It reminds me of a Revoltech joint where it's like a hinged joint, but the outer structure is like a sphere, basically a ball. So it doesn't look very much like an obtrusive looking joint. So I like that about it. Hinge joints for the elbows, which I don't know if you can see here, but it's already separating. It's very loose. So yeah, I'm trying to sort of get it tight again, but overall very very nice so far. But yeah, there are issues with it. Again, the fragility, and just like the lack of precision in molding of the model kit parts. Because again, the vast majority of the pegs that I've had to sort of attach so far together, they're too big for the slots or the peg holes, and that causes a lot of points of possible plastic stress. And again, because this is a small model kit with very delicate small parts, the stress plastic can lead to a breakdown further down the road. However, it is a pretty enjoyable experience so far. I really like the detail. I mean, I think a lot of people could be satisfied with just this structure here without the extra armor bits added. Like definitely more experienced customizers and model kit makers would be, I think, very happy to just use this base structure and paint it and highlight all the mechanical detail all around. It's very nice looking, and again, as you can see, the posability is quite impressive. So that's basically part one of the review of this model kit. I'll be back in probably a few days' time after I finish assembling the model and sort of taking a further look at how this sort of preliminary form of the model compares to the final form. I am hoping that with the extra armor pieces that will be attached, that I'll get further stability in the model kit. However, I've seen a couple of reviews and I've read a couple of reviews, And unfortunately, they all mention issues with numerous small parts falling off. The model kit has parts that are prone to falling. A lot of people have said that they suggest that other people who get this model, as well as the Optimus Prime model, that they glue a lot of the parts on. I really don't want to do that because I would like to take apart this model kit to show the inner frame for display purposes. But who knows? Like I said, I'll find out more once I get the other parts, the armor parts of the model assembled onto it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this part of the review. I hope you guys stick around to watch the next part of the review, again, probably in a couple of days. As usual, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.